Hey everybody, Florida Stacker here, and in today's video, I'm going to talk to you about an energy revolution that is now underway in the United States. That's right, American reliance on Russia for uranium has quickly ignited renewed interest and opportunity for domestic uranium mining. Now, I'm a shareholder of Uranium Energy Corp. That's going to be stock ticker symbol UEC on the New York Stock Exchange. And I'm going to talk to you exactly why UEC is America's fastest growing domestic uranium mining operation and how this is very good news in today's market. So let's get to it. All right, so the United States of America is the single largest importer of uranium in the world, importing 45 to 50 million pounds of uranium each of the last few years. In all, approximately 98% of uranium used in America's reactors was imported. And nearly 50% of all globally mined uranium each year ends up in the United States. Of those imports, roughly 16% was purchased from Russia, and another 22% of imports from Russia's ally and partner, Kazakhstan. Very nice. All right, so on the 24th of February, the Russian Federation launched yet another invasion into the sovereign territory of Ukraine. The United States government did respond in several different ways that included imposing bans on Russian oil, natural gas, and coal. Uranium, however, was not included on the list. And the reason is, roughly 1 in 5 homes in the United States is powered by uranium-fueled nuclear energy. And the United States is once more considering the employment of a strategic uranium reserve and also looking closely at ways to source its uranium domestically. All right, so today in the news, October 5th, 2022, OPEC, or the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, did announce it was slashing daily oil production by 2 million barrels per day. By reducing this supply, OPEC aims to keep prices elevated, which means Americans and Europeans will be paying more for oil as domestic production. Well, it has been slashed. And of course, this is all taking place just ahead of winter's arrival here in the Northern Hemisphere. So President Joe Biden did respond today, and the news is that he is going to release more of America's strategic oil reserve, and that is in order to help offset rising fuel prices by simply increasing the available supply. One can reasonably assume that the administration would follow a similar strategy to continue fueling our nuclear reactors as we look to wean ourselves off of purchasing uranium from Russia or any of its allies. Okay, so who is better poised to capitalize on this change in domestic energy policy than the largest uranium company in the United States, Uranium Energy Corp, with its over 5 million pounds of physical uranium on hand? Yes, that's right. They've already got over 5 million pounds of uranium in its storage facilities. And while 5 million pounds is just a fraction of total U.S. imports, UEC is also capable of delivering much, much more, which I'm going to touch on here shortly. So, Uranium Energy Corp, or UEC, is the largest North American-focused uranium company, which also means that it is the go-to company for institutional money such as Wall Street's biggest investment firms. We're talking giants here like State Street Bank, BlackRock, Vanguard, Sprott, Fidelity, UBS, and Northern Trust, all together collectively owning 45% of all Uranium Energy Corp stock, leaving just 55% for the rest of us. This has directly contributed to UEC's selection as a holding in no less than 34 different exchange-traded funds, or ETFs, which give retail investors some uranium, exposure in big broker-provided energy ETFs. As you know, the more buyers of a stock, the higher the price moves up. And with this recent news, that is exactly what we are beginning to see. So what has taken place in Europe today when it comes to the cost of energy, in my opinion, is a direct result of decades of poor domestic energy planning and a resultant over-reliance on renewable energy that simply does not satisfy demand. Also, after the 2011 nuclear incident in Fukushima, Japan, Europe and other nuclear-capable countries across the globe did begin to shut down their nuclear reactors and also scrapped their plans to build more at precisely the same time that Europe witnessed a tremendous surge in immigration on the backs of yet another Middle Eastern conflict. All right, so the lack of reactor power on top of the fact that Europe isn't exactly the sunniest nor the windiest place in the world for those other green energy options such as solar panels and windmills, further drives reliance on cheap Russian oil, natural gas, and coal to power European homes, as well as their factories. Vladimir Putin knew he owned this choke point and could quite literally turn off the many pipelines that are flowing from Russia into Europe if Europe were to intervene or somehow force his hand in Ukraine. While fossil fuels are being choked off, uranium is left standing tall, as it only requires a few tons of uranium ore to power an entire American city. All right, this is tonnage that could easily be mined domestically by UEC in a matter of weeks. The United States is already making moves to shore up its domestic nuclear reactors. The recent passage of the so-called Inflation Reduction Act, finger quotes, provides tax credits for existing nuclear reactors, which is sure to lead to lifespan extensions for existing American nuclear fleets. All right, so this also bodes well for uranium as a side note, guys and girls, as there are very few issues that Republicans and Democrats agree on today in Washington, D.C. Now, by and large, nuclear energy is one of those exceptions, and given current conditions for clean and affordable energy in 2022, has also received a lot of bipartisan support. So how is UEC positioned to address our domestic uranium needs, given that domestic uranium production also fell to an all-time low as recently as 2019? Well, first, they have to do it in a clean way. And that is exactly how UEC has established its mining operations using a form of recovery known as in situ or ISR recovery. Low environmental impact ISR mining, which is also called in situ leach or solution mining, does use an alkaline or acid lixiviant solution, which is injected and extracted using a series of wells to leach subterranean ores. After this lixiviant is injected, the uranium-bearing solution is then pumped to the surface and recovered in a process plant. Uranium-pregnant solution from production wells is pumped or trucked to a treatment plant where uranium is recovered, typically using resin polymer ion exchange or solvent extraction. At the end, clean water is then re-injected, making it environmentally friendly. UEC possesses two such ISR sites. One of these is in Wyoming and another in Texas. The Wyoming site today is licensed to produce a capacity of 2.5 million pounds of uranium per year, and the newer Burke Hollow ISR project in Texas is licensed for another 2 million pounds per year. Without additional exploration or investment, UEC is poised to provide approximately 10% of America's uranium ore requirements domestically today from just these two sites. Now, the company is not limited to only these two sites, as UEC currently owns several more sites that are predominantly scattered across the western United States. These sites could operationally account for far more uranium production than is currently imported from Russia. So we've got a solution here, folks. Now, let me take a few minutes to quickly recap some critical points that continue to compel me to invest further in UEC for what I and many on Wall Street see as an opportunity still to come. Okay. Nuclear power is critical to the United States. That's probably something that cannot be argued, considering 1 in 5 homes is actually powered by nuclear energy. As the current second largest source of electricity in the United States, nuclear power is a must to propel the American economy as well as light our homes. The United States currently imports nearly half of the annual global uranium production to power those 1 in 5 American homes, and the United States has the largest nuclear reactor fleet. Yet, less than 2% of annual uranium consumption here comes from domestic sources. As the war in Ukraine rages on without end in sight, and now many countries reliant on Russian oil and natural gas imports have been forced to look to other less than desirable trading partners that include countries such as Venezuela, Iraq, Syria, and Iran, the Biden administration wants congressional approval, which will allow the Department of Energy to purchase $4.3 billion of domestic uranium, conversion, and enrichment in the single largest and most capable business in America. To do this is Uranium Energy Corp. This issue is also a bipartisan one, which I've commented on before, which makes passage of new laws that benefit domestic uranium production much more likely to pass, and the current administration has already established goals for the nation to produce 100% carbon-free or pollution-free electricity here by 2035. That's not that far off. On top of all these trends, UEC continues to possess zero debt and maintains a balance sheet with roughly $173 million in cash and other liquid assets on hand. And let's not forget those 5 million pounds of physical uranium ore. UEC's strategic objective is to continue to build and grow the company to become a leading domestic supplier of low-cost uranium in order to meet America's energy demands today and in the future, and decarbonization efforts while simultaneously reducing the country's dependence on imports, namely from countries like Russia, Kazakhstan, and Uzbekistan. I'm going to put several links in the video description section down below on how to access additional information pertaining to UEC. These will include a list of projects, some investor information, as well as the latest news releases to bring you all up to speed. As the United States and the developed world looks to move away from carbon-based fuels and reliance on hostile foreign producers, the case for uranium and nuclear energy continues to get stronger with each passing year. Now, I'd like to thank all of you for watching today, and I do want to remind you that I have over 350 videos now on the channel around buying and holding physical precious metals, as well as in investing in commodities-based companies such as UEC that are poised to capitalize on trends in the market. I'll be back real soon with another physical unboxing of silver and gold, and I do look forward to seeing you there. Until next time.
Thank you for watching our video. I hope you subscribe to our YouTube channel.